been a long time since my last vlog. Yeah, I'll talk more about it in a second, and maybe talk a little bit about these new gloves. In the meantime, let's start her up. So, there's this thing with new gloves. Takes some time until they're like when they first start off, first ride with new gloves. I always feel them being a tiny bit slippery. I don't know if they it's just like, do I need to wash them or rub them on something? I don't know if it's from storage or shipping or, you know, from the factory. They take a little bit of rubbing until they start getting grippier. But anyway, so the main reason I haven't been vlogging is mostly because I was using my modular helmet, which doesn't really have a logical place to put a GoPro on. But here I am with the Shoei again, so I hope there's not too much wind noise, because I hear a lot of wind noise in my helmet right now. Alright, so what's changed? Not much. Regular maintenance on the bike. Approaching the 32,000 mile service that's coming up. I'll see what needs to be done. Still on the fence if I want to do that, because I'm going to replace the plugs, and I know the front couple plugs are hard to get to, but while I'm down there, maybe I should just pay somebody to do my valve clearance check, because I don't know if this bike has ever had the valves checked. So many VFRs over the years have been opened. You know, you take all this time to remove everything so you can actually open the two heads, and then the valves are within clearance. But I don't know. I think it's time, just so I can have like a clear head about it. Something that you only need every like 16,000 miles. So I'm getting close to that service. So if I'm gonna go ahead and pay somebody to do the valve clearance, they can go ahead and change the plugs, so I don't have to scrape my knuckles to get those front two in there, out of there and in there. But we'll see. Speaking of scraping my knuckles, these Dainese were on sale. I couldn't resist. You know, I have gauntlet gloves that are pretty cheap. I have two sets, those gauntlet ones, but I don't have like just regular everyday type of gloves. So I wanted something nicer, something with a little bit of like more quality, higher quality leather. I have to tell you though, like these are normally priced at around 150 bucks, right? And they're not worth that full price. At 100 bucks, maybe it's kind of pushing it, but I don't feel like I got a great deal. I got it's a reasonable price for these. When they're discounted 45%, that means that, yeah, if you find these things and they're not marked down a lot, I don't know, I don't think I'd recommend them. One thing about the Italians, the Dainese and Alpinestars that I found compared to other brands is their fingers are always a tiny bit long for me. Like I can't fit in a medium. My hands are too big for a medium, but my fingers aren't really quite long enough for a large. So I don't know, hopefully after I break them in a little bit. It's the same problem. I have the same problem with the Alpinestars gear. It's like both companies make gear for people with just long ET style fingers. Alright, that's it for the gloves. If you're looking for recommendations for gear and stuff. I'm not a guy that experienced all the gear. I'm not that kind of a YouTuber that have stuff sent to them. But if you're interested in what I chose and why I chose what I ride with, I'd be happy to share that information. I'm not sponsored by anyone. I have, when I did work in the industry as a parts guy and accessories guy, then that was about a decade ago. I was up to speed with anything and everything that came out of noteworthy manufacturers. Certified showy salesmen, like they make you take a course and pass a test to be qualified, and I did back in the day. I'm a certified showy guy, but they don't pay me any money, so I am not a biased person. Main reason I chose them over some of the other great helmet manufacturers is because I know they fit. I've never owned an RI. I've tried one out before. I took a ride with an RI Corsair, but the old version, they were so loud. But I'm sure they protect my head just as good, if not even better, than the helmet I have on my head now. There's this new company called 6D that a lot of people are raving about, and I read a little bit about their philosophy and how to make helmets, and a lot of it makes a lot of sense. Like the way they value like absorption. Instead of being able to take multiple hits in the same region, they try to create their helmets to absorb the most amount of impact on that on that first impact. So once the helmet goes down, like once you go down, the helmet hits the floor, it's done, it's trash. If you want to keep it for decoration, to remember to chill when you ride, put it on a shelf, but don't sell it to anyone. Even if the person tells you they're not going to use it, don't trust it. Like, just don't. A helmet that's been down is trash. I don't, it should be obvious, and probably is obvious to most of you, but there are people out there. Anyway, trying to think about subjects for the vlog today, and staying on the topic of recommendations. I've been going the past year and some, when I'm back motorcycling, and even before that, when I decided I'm going to and started researching, started following some motorcycle news places. I've always been a subscriber of MCN, and I used to read their magazines a lot back in Israel. All the garages, the shops would have the actual magazines. MCN was like my favorite out of them. But my favorite, I started following some content creators on YouTube. Not necessarily vloggers, but some vloggers, some reviewers, journalists, all. And I think if I had to pick a favorite, it's going to be hard because I like a lot of them, but if I had to pick a favorite, it would probably be 44 Teeth out of England. These guys are hilarious, first of all. They seem as honest as they could be. When they do have to advertise a product, they remind you that they're sponsored by them. They make fun of themselves. They don't take themselves too seriously. They make fun of everything, really. But the content, the actual, like, it's not impressive cinematography or not really any impressive camera work. They're not showing you anything that you haven't seen before, but the actual content, like, besides the motorcycle reviews and they do a segment of the news every once in a while, and they talk about specs of new bikes and, you know, rumors and spy shots and whatever. But besides all of that, they have these like kind of Top Gear style challenges where they called budget bike battle. Whenever they can afford it, they'll buy a few cheap bikes, you know, all within a specific budget, and they'll go on a tour with them, or they'll go on a mission with them. The last one so far was Budget Bike Battle Bavaria, where they took two 90s Japanese bikes, like a Yamaha, I don't know if it's a YZF 750, something like that, whatever 750 inline 4 sport bike Yamaha had back in the 90s, and a Fireblade, an old 90s Fireblade. They inspected them, made sure to repair whatever needs to be repaired, and then they rode them from England down to Oktoberfest and to the Nürburgring on the way. It was it's really impressive stuff. It's like 4 episodes, beautiful, like, yeah, the friendship between them, and you know how they bounce off each other, and just the way they present things is amazing. They don't need fancy camera work. They don't need I don't know, finely researched articles, which I'm going to get to with other creators, but their chemistry is enough to carry the program and kind of put it on top for me. Now, they do have other people working with them. There's the Lucy, who recently, a few months ago, lost his leg in a racing accident, or a track day accident. He tells an amazing, compelling story. First of all, like, if you go and watch it, please do yourself a favor before you do. Watch some of the reviews that he did, kind of some of the vlogs, or you know, just listen to him, get to know the person. And for me, like, I've been subscribed to their content and I've been viewing, and kind of, you know, you feel like you know these guys. And when Boothie had that the accident, when he tells the story, and you know, kind of know this, at least the online persona of the person. She seems pretty genuine of a person, even as an online persona. It provides some context. It's not perfect context, but it's some context that makes the story I need a second. It makes the story even more compelling, I guess, that you know the kind of person he is, and the accidents he's had before, the struggles that he had coming back from it, the way that he rides, the fact that he never dialed back his riding after multiple injuries, crashes here and there, and kind of puts things into context when you watch someone like Marc Marquez take those risks, even in free practice, where you're not even trying to, there's no points. You're in free practice, but you're watching this guy. It's just how they ride, and it's something that separates us, or I don't know if you are, but I know that I am not a racer person that is just most people. Someone who's like most people, and I'm just aware that I will not be a great motorcycle racer, just because as long as there are people on the grid that wire, whatever neuron is in charge of self-preservation, is just not wired like that. They won't back off. They won't get on their brakes as early as you, because they don't care. Like, they fully trust the machine to do its job, when we normal folk, we don't. Like, even when we say, even if I'm the guy that put the new pads in and inspected the brakes and bled them and tested them, I'm not gonna go as deep as them into, like, off of a straight into onto the brakes. I'm not, because what if something happens? And successful racers, there's something missing there. But then you have to be a little bit insane to be able to compete at that level, and Boothie is one of those people. He's just was able to compete at that level. I'm not gonna even ask what this truck is doing. Alright, so 44 Teeth, please, check them out if you don't know them. And if you're from Europe, you probably know them already. There's another truck in front of them. There's not even used to go past them. He's trying. You can smell the diesel. Besides 44 Teeth. Now there's this is not really a pyramid of some sort of hierarchy, but somebody who I appreciate just as much, even though I did not mention them first, but this is somebody that is everything that 44 Teeth is not, so it's the perfect accompaniment. Next to them is F9, or Ryan from Fort9. Fort9 is a Canadian online retail store, and they produce, unlike Revzilla, which does amazing content. Well, they've been stepping up their game. We're going to talk about them in a little bit. But Fort9 produces content that is, first of all, ridiculously well researched and well written. The cinematography it can be on HBO. The cinematography is completely not just top-notch YouTube stuff. It's top-notch stuff, period. Cinematography, it's film level video work and audio, but it kind of goes hand in hand. So yeah, the research, the writing, the presentation, the cinematography. The presentation is this cocky kid, Ryan, who's cocky, but he can back it up. So yeah, Fort9, please check them out if you don't know them. It's amazing. It brings me, I don't know if it's down the food chain because of the later stuff. So Revzilla's been making videos for years and years. I remember before I took the break from motorcycling, they had, yeah, you can go. That's okay. I'm just gonna slow down. So Revzilla's been making contact all the time. I remember I was still riding during the Anthony from Revzilla days, when he would, it was this jacked track bro who would, seems really nice, but he would, take you through product, tire comparisons were really good, different jackets and different gloves and different things, and they would show you and kind of help you understand, pick and choose when you're shopping online. So they were really ahead of the game back then. And at some point, I think maybe while I was taking the break, they started a podcast with Ari Henning and the other guys, and it was pretty good. I listened to it. They're on they finished season 6 not too long ago. So the podcast is really good, but then what really is the cherry on top, and really why I'm mentioning them, the improvement that they had in their content, is those adventures that they decided to start filming. They'll take stuff like the two Honda C90 and a new 125, tiny little cub looking looking scooters and go to Alaska with them, or go past Wyoming in 2 old adventure bikes. They're just going on adventures. Comparing new Ducati with like a K5 Gixxer, like, you know, this is we have a 20 grand bike here and a 5 grand bike there, and like, what really is the difference? Is this actually 4 times as much bike as the other one? You know, little stuff like that, stuff that for a person without this kind of backing of CF Moto. CF Moto is the parent company of Rivzilla and Cycle Gear and well, they have JP Cruiser or something like that. They have like a few motorcycle gear companies. They're like the Guitar Center of motorcycle stuff, but they actually do stock cool stuff. When I say Guitar Center, it's because Guitar Center owns Musician's Friend and a couple more online retailers. So yeah, they're the new content that they've had the past couple of years has been amazing. They've compared sport touring bikes with a ZX10 to see like what the difference actually is in terms of speed or handling. Comparisons that normal motorcycle magazines are not really interested in doing, but it's knowledge that, you know, we wouldn't have known otherwise. It's for regular vloggers, not regular, but you know, great vloggers. That also one that also does motorcycle reviews that I really like is Lamb Chop Rides. That's another British guy that I don't know if any Americans even know they exist. So look at that trike. Trike riders never know if you're gonna give them the sign, if you're gonna give them a wave or not. They don't know if you consider them as motorcyclists or not. And they are tricyclists, which is a kind of, they have a motor and they cycle, you know, I guess. They get wet in the rain too. Anyway, yeah, Lamb Chop Rides. Lamb Chop Rides, he does motorcycle reviews and whatnot, vlogs, but the thing that the element of what he does is different and I really like. The main reason besides his character is great, so it seems to be like a one-man operation, just him and his Alexa style thing, Mavis. So yeah, he does everything by himself, but really the element that is different from everything else is the fact that he takes his own bikes. At any given moment, like he'll probably owns like 3 or 4 or 5 bikes, and he'll take them or whatever, and he'll make episodes about modifying the Jesus out of them. Even bikes that he borrows from manufacturers, like he'd borrow a S1000RR and it'll replace like a bunch of panels with carbon fiber from a different manufacturer that, you know, from a boutique place that custom makes carbon fiber parts, and wanted a shout out on his channel. So it's amazing. Like, it's content that we don't necessarily see. Retrofits electronic cruise control from like on a bike that never had it. Things like that, carbon fiber rims or whatever. Like, he'll take it. Then he took his H2, Kawasaki H2. Instead of buying H2SX, he just took an actual H2, chromed it out completely with a bunch of bolt-on parts, and then started trying to make it more comfortable. So like higher, like what is it? We have bar risers and extra padded gel seat inserts and all sorts of stuff just to make it more dailyable. This is the kind of content that's like nobody really does it, or if they try to, they don't really make it like that. So shout out to Lamb Chop, amazing content.